attacking nation state. It didn't really become, corporation heavy until after Stuxnet, I'd say, whenever more corporate clients started getting attacked by these threat groups.
Right.
So it wasn't until my junior year of my undergrad where cyber started becoming more of a conversation in academia. I had the opportunity to start taking a network security course that was early at Texas A&M, and then that kind of snowballed. I had a cybersecurity minor that I also eventually picked up and got more connected to some of the professors who ended up helping me get my first job part-time working as a security analyst at the university. And from there, it really snowballed. It started going down different routes, figuring out which discipline I wanted. Did a couple work, some work in pen testing, did some work in strategic advisory, threat intelligence, and eventually found my niche in forensics and incident response.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I love how non-linear it can really be, because our careers, they go in ways that we don't necessarily always predict, right?
Right.
Okay, so what does your day-to-day look like, and why is it important? Like, what you do is important.
Yeah, so day to day kind of varies a little bit depending on the type of case I'm dealing with, the type of attack that I'm really helping a client with. But overall, I'm a consultant, so I usually am helping clients respond to and recover from different types of cyber attacks, whether that is a ransomware attack, which is a pretty common one that we know about. It could be just a data extortion attempt. Could be dealing with nation state espionage investigations still. That's something that crosses my desk quite often. Insider threats is another thing. We could go into that a little more. But overall, sometimes I'm helping a Fortune 500 organization handle a global meltdown. Sometimes I'm helping a local school district who's experienced some type of breach. And, with some of these organizations, they don't have the manpower or experience to really get things back themselves. So they call in someone like myself to come in and lend my expertise and help them get back online safely.
Yeah. That's amazing. That is super important what you do. And I'm sure a lot of lives are dependent on what you do. So thanks for sharing.
Of course.
So as students enter the job market, how would you help them deal with any imposter syndrome?
Ooh, great question. So yeah, imposter syndrome is something that I feel like a lot of different engineering disciplines also deal with, but particularly in cyber, where you could have so many different specialties. You're going to have a peer, right alongside you who may have, years more experience in scripting and coding than you, that they may be more capable in some of the more technical aspects, or it'll be the flip side where you may be the one with all the technical expertise, but you may struggle in translating that and being confident in speaking to the clients. Really, what helped me really overcome imposter syndrome was understanding that we all bring different unique skill sets and experiences to the table. Just know that you're here for a reason. There is somewhere on the table for everybody in cybersecurity. We need all the hands we could get. But once you find what your strength is, I'd say capitalize on that, build your confidence. Of course, don't downplay your weaknesses. We want to improve overall in general, but know that your strengths are what are going to set you apart and are going to be what's can be the most influential, I'd say, in these investigations that go on.
Yeah, I like that, kind of bringing their own unique perspective to the table.
Right.
Okay. What do you see going on in the industry today, and what do you think students should be doing?
Yeah, so I think a big buzzword going around right now is AI. AI is like a few years ago it would have been cloud, but right, AI is the hot topic right now, and I feel like it's going to be around for quite a while. And what we're seeing, we're just starting to approach the outer edges of what AI is capable of. But AI can be useful as a tool for both internal automation. There's a lot of organizations that are leveraging AI, building their own LLM models or third-party models to help improve their processes. So understanding how to use these, how they work in the back end, can really go far in helping you get ahead in the industry, I'd say. But also on the flip side, our threat actors that we're facing, they're also leveraging AI. So we're seeing a lot of them leverage that in their social engineering attempts with phishing emails that are more specifically crafted towards the victim. We're also seeing them do different types of attacks that we haven't seen before, like prompt injection attacks and different type of poisonings. But on the other side, something that we're really starting to go into more with AI in the industry is researching the forensic capabilities that we have there. So, as more organizations are starting to leverage these tools, it's only a matter of time till we start seeing a lot of these them get hacked themselves, or all these models get breached. So how do we conduct that investigation? What types of logs are going to be available? What level of visibility will we have into the different activities that were conducted by a threat actor that may have breached your model? It's really going to vary, is what we're seeing right now. It varies whether it's internally built, if you have those types of event data that's being monitored, or if you're leveraging a third party. Sometimes these third parties are more willing to provide those log sets to your firm, or another third party firm that's conducting an investigation. But sometimes we just don't have the answers there. They're not going to have that level of visibility. So this is something that's really interesting and something that we're exploring in research right now. And so for any students that want to pursue that as research, that's something that can be very vital in the industry moving forward. I'd also say social engineering is something that's been trending for a while, but it's definitely still forefront of my mind, is dealing with these insider threats that are coming in through leveraging social engineering capabilities. So people calling into the help desk, claiming to be the victim, having their social and email and everything, and saying, "Hey," or calling into your phone company like AT&T and
Right.
pretending to be the victim, saying, "Hey, I lost my phone. Can you issue me a new SIM card?" And now, once they get issued that, MFA is no longer in play there, because they have that multi-factor now. So we're trying to think of new ways to train these different help desks and HR folks to make sure that we're letting the right people in to the organization. And then lastly, I'd say something trending and a good note, I think, is global collaboration.
Great.
So definitely both organizations are starting to leverage folks at a global scale, but also on the consulting side in cyber incident response, a lot of firms like CrowdStrike and like our other competitors, they're leveraging a global team where we're able to hand off things and continuously conduct that analysis or be available and present for clients. That's something that is great and is definitely taking some things off my back for work life.
I bet. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work, a lot of things to stay involved in and ahead of, and still constantly researching, which kind of leads me a little bit to the next question about work-life balance. How do you manage your work-life balance in this type of line of work?
Yeah, that's a big question that comes up, particularly in cyber. And cybersecurity at large, I'm going to say it greatly depends on your specialty, I'd say. You could have a more proactive type of cybersecurity role, something dealing with GRC, governance, risk, and compliance, or helping with tabletop exercises and war games, which are great roles, but they could be a little bit more structured, and you're not always on call. Necessarily, or even pen testing, ethical hacking. Some of those exercises are typically planned out for when they start and end. However, in a role like cyber incident response, as the name kind of implies, it can be very hectic. And with it, it comes with a job knowing that we're sometimes going to have to be available for our clients at a moment's notice. But it's also something that's very rewarding, knowing that I'm there for someone in their critical situations and they really need my help, and being able to, get them past the finish line when they need, or get them back to operational before the weekend is over. That's something that keeps me going. So if you really like helping people, I think that's something that you're going to get a lot out of in incident response for the most part. But things are getting better, as I mentioned, with the global collaboration piece. Here at CrowdStrike, at least, we have a global team, so I'm able to hand things off to my colleagues in the Asia Pacific zone, and they hand off to the European colleagues, who then hand off back to me. So we can still have that continuous movement in the investigation and helping with the client, but I don't have to necessarily have my phone on full speaker at 3 a.m. anymore, at least.
Well, very good. I think that also goes back to just some of that collaboration piece, which is trending in the industry, and that's helpful for people to know. Okay, so let's transition a little bit to student success tips. So what are your top 3 student success tips in entering this field?
Yeah, great question there. So I think my biggest one here, and these students have probably heard it time and time again, is going to be communication skills. It's a soft skill, but it's definitely one of the most important ones I could say, particularly in cybersecurity consulting. You have to know
Absolutely.
not only how to do the technical piece, that's kind of a given with an industry like cyber, but you have to know how to translate your findings to an executive audience. We're often in status updates every day with business executives, with leadership on different levels, legal teams, press, you name it. So you have to be able to code switch and really understand, how the client is, whoever you're speaking to, understand your audience and understand how to present the information in a way that's digestible for them, but also answers the key questions in an effective manner that they're looking for.
Right.
As a consultant, you're coming in as the expert. Yes, you're going to have all the technical nitty gritty, but they want to make sure that they understand it as well. So that's the biggest one. The next one I would say is mentorship. Mentorship has been a really big thing in my career. I've had a number of mentors in different capacities over my years that have helped me both, just understand where I want to go in my career, but also it's great to just reach out to folks that you see in that future position. Just ask them, hey, what was your journey there like? What are some tips that you have? Can we have a coffee? Grab a coffee. I really love in-person mentorships. I think more than anything, it's a little
Yeah.
different doing the online thing, but get together with someone and just talk to them. You never know. It's a small industry, and you
Yeah.
never know where you'll see them again in the future. So try to keep up those relationships. The last thing I would say is critical thinking. Like a lot of engineering disciplines, you're going to have to think outside the box quite often in cyber. It's not going to be black and white, especially since we're always playing this cat and mouse game with the threat actors, where they're continuing to advance their capabilities in different new ways. So we have to also think of new ways to conduct our investigations and think of new ways to stop their attempts and really help the client in the best way they can. So you got to think outside the box, use critical thinking skills, leverage it in your day to day. That's the best I could say there.
Yeah, very good. I love these tips. And we hear all the time from employers about communication as well, and even different forms of, teamwork and collaboration. So that's awesome. Okay, so beyond the degree, is there any certifications that students need to be aware of or think about getting into this field?
Yeah. So there's definitely, cyber is one of those fields where there's a lot of certifications you could get. Sometimes it could be overwhelming for students.
Yeah.
I typically recommend for students to start with some of the HR filter ones, the ones that'll get you past that first layer. Those are the more popular ones that have been around for a while, like the CompTIA Security Plus, the Network Plus. You can go for the Cisco CCNA. Those are always great to see, and HR likes to check the box on some of those. I recommend students also go one level higher to the Cybersecurity Analyst Plus, ISA Plus. It'll show that you have a little bit more of a broader depth of knowledge and also dedicated a little bit more time to learn more. Also, another popular entry level one that a lot of HR teams know about is the CEH, the Certified Ethical Hacker. It's been around for a long time, and even though it's labeled as a red team cert, it can be very good for defense and investigative side as well. But beyond those typical ones that'll get you past that first layer, when I'm interviewing candidates, I love to see specialty certs. So I love if they've gone to any cloud certifications in particular right now. There's the CCSK, which is a vendor neutral cert, or going down, you can choose to go down the AWS route or the Azure route. There's a number of different security certs for those, but showing that you have those types of certs are showing that you're capable for those type of hybrid engagements, which since COVID, nearly every case I've been on has had some type of hybrid component, whether it be an actual cloud compromise and at the management layer, or whether it's just a due diligence review of your cloud as well. I think it's great to see associates and junior folks with that knowledge already. But another one that's also very useful from a tactical level is the Blue Team Level 1, I'd say. I've seen some good things come out of that with some of my candidates. It teaches you a little bit more of the hands-on skills. and some of the tooling that we use in our forensics. I'd also say using some of these tools that we use in the industry, like Splunk. Splunk is still widely used. That they have their own certifications that are accessible for students as well. You could get every cert in the world, but again, as a student, you don't have that much money. But I'd say focus on some of these ones that'll get you pretty far. But even beyond the certifications and the degree, I love to see, and I'm always asking them, what type of side projects have they worked on? Have
Yeah.
they even built their own computer before? Do they have their own VM infrastructure set up on their laptop? Have they messed with Active Directory? Have they set up a server with a domain controller and a host, and maybe targeted it with another Kali Linux machine? And from there, after you practice your attacking, have you practiced the other side of it and started reviewing the logs to see if you can see evidence of the attacks that you attempted on that machine?
Nice.
That's a really great kind of project that I think would set you pretty far in a portfolio for interviews.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really, really good advice. Thank you for sharing. Speaking of interviews, I would like to know if you have any advice for students that are going into maybe a technical interview.
Yeah. So more and more companies like CrowdStrike and our other peers are starting to conduct more technical assessments early as earlier in the kind of interview phase. I'd say don't be stressed out about those. They're going to come up, but really we're assessing your technical capabilities because we want to see where you're at. We understand your students. We understand that you're still learning, but we want to see what and if you're curious to take it to the next level. There's going to be things that you don't know how to do. Don't be afraid to say that you don't know the answer.
Right.
Vocalize that. Speak out loud. That's another thing. Sometimes I get on these interviews with students, and they do a lot of the work in their head, and they're not really speaking out loud for where their mind is going. So me as the interview, I'm sitting there just waiting for them to speak, but I want to see how their brain works. I want to see where you're going with your thought process, because that methodology is really what the interesting thing is for us in those technical interviews.
Yeah, and I would assume even if they're going down a wrong path, that you can hear where they go and they can turn around and come back. So it doesn't have to be perfect, right?
Yeah, and that helps demonstrate that critical thinking to me, seeing where your mind is going.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so we're getting close to wrapping up for the day. What's next for you? Curious.
Yeah, so I guess on an exciting note, I finally finished these degrees. I've been working on them part-time along with my full-time work. So in the immediate term, definitely focusing on family right now. I owe my wife some vacations, and then I have a honey-do list I got to get to. So that's where I'm going right now. On the technical side, refining my management skills is something that's going to continue in the immediate term, continuing to build that out as I have the credentials now, definitely just getting in more opportunities that are starting to show up, and sticking my hand out a little more. The next thing, later down the line after that, I'm still continuing my process towards going towards executive leadership. That's always been a goal of mine, or potentially starting my own firm in the future. In cyber, there's plenty of work to go around. There's a lot of gaps in the market still. And so it's definitely doable to pursue those leadership type roles if you have the experience, but also if you have the drive and determination. We just want people that are passionate about this field and what we're doing here to help our clients in the world.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm excited to see kind of where you go from here. And I also saw that you were the founder and former president of a student org, and now you are the industry advisor. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so the CDRU, the Cyber Defense and Response Unit, was a student organization at UT Dallas that I started up last year, and I'm very proud of the officers that have taken over since then. That they've done a great job in expanding the club and helping reach out more to students in computer science and engineering. But I started that organization last year because I saw there was a gap in academia where there's in a lot of the classrooms, you're teaching some of the higher level terminology based things, but students aren't really getting that exposed to the hands-on skills and using tools that we actually use in the industry. So I wanted to provide an opportunity for students to build those skill sets and using tools and leveraging the same methodology that we used for our actual investigations. So it's really focused on hands-on workshops is a great thing. This club is still continuing to do that, and I'm happy to continue overseeing them as an industry advisor to some capacity. We got a banquet coming up. It's going to be great.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to see some of those students at there's a local cyber conference called B-Sides going on this month. I'll see some of them there. But UTD has a number of great cybersecurity organizations.
Get involved.
Get involved. The opportunity is there. Whether you're interested in the defensive side, like CDRU, or if you're more interested in the red side, or just generally want to learn more about cyber, there's a place for you, and we're looking forward to seeing you at the meetings.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jesus, for being with us today. Really, really appreciate it. You've been amazing, really great advice, and I just can't wait to see where you go from here. And we'll see you next time.